Had trouble sleeping lately? Don't worry, you're not alone, and it's not all bad. Here are 19 reasons to read Insomnia. Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel. I'm Dave Musson, at Dave Musson on Instagram, and this is the place where we're going through the entire works of Stephen King in chronological order, and I'm going to give you 19 reasons to read each one. If that sounds like something you would like to watch more of, then do have a look around the rest of my channel and maybe even consider subscribing as well so you don't miss any videos in the future. There's loads to explore, so go and knock yourself out. In this video, we're up to 1994 and this chunky, weird and somewhat underappreciated book, Insomnia, which has a load going on, a load of links to the Dark Tower and just plenty to talk about. So let's get in and do exactly that. Don't worry, I will tell you when the spoilers are coming so you can drop out if you need to, but other than that, here are 19 reasons to read Insomnia. So this book came about after a bout of real insomnia King suffered in 1990. He worked on the book for about 4 months, but then gave up, said it was a long, bad novel that was just not publishable, apart from the final 80 to 90 pages, which he called wonderful. Fast forward a few years, and the novel had almost doubled in length, and King had decided it was publishable after all. The result was this little cracker, Insomnia. As I mentioned in the intro, this book has a lot of Dark Tower stuff. In fact, it's pretty much a Dark Tower novel in all but name. Specifically, we get introduced to the Crimson King and Patrick Danville, who are both pretty important figures in the path to the Dark Tower. If you're a Towerhead and you haven't read Insomnia, you need to change that. So let's get into the hook of this one. Our hero is 70-year-old widower Ralph Roberts, who is suffering from an increasingly bad case of insomnia brought on by the death of his wife. Now Ralph sleeps less and less each night, and as he gets less and less sleep, he starts to, well, see things. He sees the auras of people and can tell what mood they're in, how close to death they are, and all of these weird kind of things. He also starts seeing these little bold doctors. 2 of them are pretty good. They're called Clotho and Lachesis, and they come in and help end someone's life in a natural, dignified and just pleasant way. Then there's a rogue doctor called Atropos, who is just working in the realm of random, going around cutting people's lifelines and killing them whenever he feels like it. Now, Ralph's friend Lois is also seeing people's auras, and they decide to team up to work out what in the fuck is going on. Alongside all of this, there's a domestic abuse, pro-choice sideline plots, and it all comes together in the book's big climax with the prospect of a plane and a building meeting each other, as well as a shape-shifting catfish and some old age pensioner romance. And despite all of that, it's really, really good. Now, this book is long. There's no getting away from that, but you are rewarded by some of King's most fantastic writing, particularly at the start and at the end. Those bits are just mwah. It's worth going through this book just to see the master really flexing his muscles. Now, aside from the other worlds than these, this book is a great example of King being able to tackle things that aren't just monsters and scary stuff. Take the feminist and pro-choice angles he deals with in this book. Yes, they would probably be better suited in a more down-to-earth novel, but he still does them really well here and manages to make them a key part of the story without them being overly distracting. Likewise, King's writing about aging. Our 2 heroes are old, and they're not superhuman in any way. They're just these old people who are doing what they can to save the world while also falling in love. Now I know I've literally just mentioned it, but that epilogue that King loved himself so much, it really is god tier King writing. Sound the classic King trope bell, ding! There is a dog in this one. And you all remember what happens to dogs in Stephen King books, right? Now, there is a lot to get your head around in this one, specifically the different meanings of existence, different levels of time, all of these kind of stuff. My advice, just go with it. You are being guided by the best there has ever been. As if to emphasize my last point, in this one King actually creates his own lexicon to go through all of these different things he's trying to work out. So we get to learn about short timers, long timers, all timers, The Random, The Purpose, Death Bags, The Great Ones, and loads more. It's a rich learning experience. Now I can't believe I've got this far without mentioning Ed Deepno. So Ed is Ralph's previously normal, placid neighbour who has just, well, completely lost it and turned into a wife-beating, anti-abortion, crazy person trying to do the work of the Crimson King. Nobody does normal guy gone crazy like King, and Ed is a terrific example of that kind of character. So this book did the usual big numbers and topped the charts, but it also prompted some actions by King which would be reflected in a few books' time. So to promote this one, King set out on a motorcycle cross-country tour of independent bookshops in the United States, which is something one of his characters in desperation would later do. Now that is car being a wheel right here and now. So King is also really good at writing, well, annoying characters. I'm talking specifically about Clotho and Lachesis. Yes, they're supposed to be good and noble, but fuck, are they panicky, pompous, and just really cringy. Okay, we are entering mild spoiler zone, so consider yourselves warned. So actually, all of the spoilers for Insomnia are simply picking out the links to King's other works. Let's start with those Dark Tower links. I've already mentioned Crimson King and Patrick Danville. We see visions of a tower holding up the universe. We see visions of Roland himself. As it happens, Insomnia, the book, actually ends up appearing in Song of Susanna. As I said earlier, if you're a Towerhead and you've not read this one, you really do need to read this one. Now this one is set in Derry, and it's the first time King went back to that little town since the Losers Club defeated Pennywise at the end of it. Is it nice to be back in Derry? Fuck no. Derry's a horrible, twisted place. Why would you want to go back there? But anyway, there is that link right there and then. And actually, it is quite fun being back in Derry. And bonus fact, both it and Insomnia were first published on the 15th of September. In different years, obviously. Now, in Insomnia, there is also a mention for the serial killer, Raymond Andrew Joubert, who of course we meet in Gerald's game. Ralph from Insomnia later makes an appearance in Bag of Bones. You keeping up? Mike Hanlon from It is Insomnia, in the library, of course, and there's also a mention for Butch Bowers, Henry's dad. And lastly, Lois mentions Ludlow, which of course is the setting for Pet Sematary, and keeping with the Pet Sematary links, there's a point where Ralph goes into Atropos' lair and discovers all the souvenirs that twisted little fucker has kept from the people whose lives he has ended early. One of the things he sees on the shelf there, you're not going to like it, it's a child's shoe, and the name written inside that shoe, of course, is One Gauge Creed. I remember the first time I read that, I actually said, "Whoa, what the fuck?" out loud when I read that sentence. So there you go, 19 reasons to read Insomnia, one of my all-time favourite King books. Yes, it's a bit weird, yes, it's quite long, but really, I love it, and I would recommend it to any of you constant readers out there. Do let me know what you thought in the comments, and let me know if you've read this one and whether you think it's any good. Now if you enjoyed this video and you'd want more of them, then stick around, there's loads more on my channel. We've done all of the books up to and including Insomnia, and there's a few specials in there as well, including my personal top 10 Stephen King books, which I'll put up here somewhere maybe. If you'd also like to come and find me on Instagram, I'm at Dave Musson. My DMs are always open. Come and say hi, drop me some suggestions for the channel, and maybe even follow me on there too if you want to just see pictures of my books. Thanks as ever for watching. Next time around in the regular videos, we've got another deep cut from the 90s to jump into. But until then, stay safe, take care, and sleep well.